what up? This is Cozmo D from Newcleus and Jam-O Productions, and I'm here bumping with y'all on the 25th Hour radio show. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Jam on it.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, Cosmo, you gonna rock it, right? You gonna do it now, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Cosmo, what's the name of this again?
Jam on it.
Tell everybody how you and the group Newcleus got together back in 1977, if you would.
All right, well, Newcleus, this is a good bit before we called ourselves Newcleus. In 77, myself and my cousins, Monique and Pete, we got together. We had already been DJing in 76, and it was 76 that we got together and started DJing. In 77, my cousin Monique left, and my best friend David, he was David St. Louis, my cousins Monique and Pete Angerin, took her place. And David was already DJing in another crew with a friend of mine, a friend of ours called Tugger, who was younger. And it's Al-T. McLaren is Tugger's full name. And they called themselves Jam Brothers Incorporated. So when we joined together with him, we kind of stole him away from T, because you remember we were teenagers, and T was 5 years younger, so he was too young.
Yeah, so this is back in like the 77, right?
That was 1977, yeah. We'd already been spinning for like a year. So he, me, Pete, and him, and my name at the time was Cosmo Disco. Pete's was Master Quadro, and Dave's was Dr. Freeze. And we came up with a name that sounded like their old name, called Jam On Productions. And that was basically the start of everything right there. That was in 1977. Years later, 1979, I met my girlfriend, Yvette, and she was rapping under the name Lady E. And my cousin Monique was back. She was Nikki D. And she started going out with a guy that lived down the block, Bob, who had his own DJ thing, and he went under Chili B. And so me, Lady E, and Neek, whose DJ name was Nikki D, and Chili B, eventually, I'm skipping through years because I know you want to get to Newcleus. Eventually, me and Lady E were together, Chili B and Nikki D were together, and when me and Lady E got married in 1981, Neek, I borrowed some money from Neek to get a Porter studio, 4-track. I had already started making music, and she said, yeah, but she wanted me to work with Chili B in exchange, and he played bass, right? And the four of us started making music together, and we called ourselves Positive Messenger. And it wasn't until 1983 when our first record, I'm skipping all through history just to answer this question.
You take your time, man.
In 1983, when we came out with our first record, it was Wiki Wiki. See, as we call ourselves Positive Messenger, because our whole thing was about music with messages, either messages about Christianity or messages about positivity, or messages about the way the world was and pointing out the problems of the world. But I was also still DJing as Cosmo D, and and still under Jam-O Productions. And one of the Jam-O Productions DJs had asked me to do a rap record. Said, "Why don't you do a rap record?" And being that we had a battle mentality, because we were battle DJs, I didn't like most of the rap records that were on the radio, so I instead decided to do a spoof in the vein of George Clinton on rap records. And I came up with this thing called Jam On's Revenge.
Oh yeah.
And it was a little ditty about with sped up voices and all that. We were ridding a town of whack rappers and throwing them out of town. It was a western. I had a John Wayne imitation and all that.
So in the beginning, you guys mainly was just doing beats, right?
We 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 were doing music.
I got you.
Because we grew up in the '70s when it was about music. It wasn't just beats. It was about music. We grew up, liking, real bands and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been in a couple of bands. I had originally tried to play guitar, but I wasn't any good at that. And then I went to singing, and it was in a band called Thunder Funk where I first started working out with Chili B. He played bass. This was before him and Neek got together. And I was saying we would do disco covers and funk covers and rock covers. We had some real good guitarists in the group, and our leader was the drummer, Tony. And we were a damn good band, but we would play block parties and stuff like that. So when I started doing music myself, I was trying to do real music. But at this time, the streets, from DJing in the streets, had gotten beat oriented. So the music that I was doing all had funky beats. So it was basically what would later be called hip hop music, but it was musical. Real bass, a lot of synths and stuff like that. That's what we were doing. And with Chili B, he played funk bass. And we would get our friends who were guitarists in there. So no, we were making real music. It wasn't just beats.
So did you receive success, fairly quickly?
It didn't feel like it was quick. But looking back, I bought my first synthesizer. It was either at the end of '79 to the beginning of '80. I didn't know an A from an E. And we put our first record out, which was a hit, Jam on Revenge in 1983. So yes, in retrospect, looking back, it was pretty quick. But it didn't feel quick at the time. It felt like, okay, we're working on this music, it's taking forever to get something happening, But if I look back, yeah, it was fairly quick.
Did you guys keep it local? Did you tour around any? How far out did you go?
As far as music is concerned, we didn't do shows or anything with our music. We just made tracks. We were recording. And putting music together, building music together, and playing it for people, and playing it at when I would DJ, we would play some of it. But we didn't have a band. It was just me and Chili B. Most of the music was just me. So and at the time, that's why I asked her to get us the Porter Studio, the 4-track, so I could layer, and do bounces. Because I'd have to do the instruments one step at a time. So we didn't have a band per se at that point. It was just me and Chili B doing all the music.
So how did you guys get along? Was it like it was like family, right? You guys, did y'all have any friendly?
That's what in 1983 when Wiki Wiki came out, when they decided this was the record they wanted to put out, it didn't have a message. So we didn't want to do the Positive Messenger because that was sacred to us. That name was sacred to us, and that mission was sacred to us. So we came up with the name Newcleus as the nucleus of our families drawing it together. Because me and my first cousin Neek, that was one family. Chili B's was another family, and Lady E's was another family, all joining together. Because at that time, Neek and Chili B were married, and me and Lady E were married. So that's why we call ourselves Newcleus. And yeah, we were family. We lived in the same house on the same floor. So yeah, we were very much together.
So how was it getting your first commercial success? How did you all respond to that?
I burst into tears the first time I heard it on the radio, man. I will never forget that day. Jonathan Farron played it on a mix show. It wasn't even a hit yet. It was just. It was just the first time hearing it on the radio, and then it started taking off from there. And it was. I've always been bewildered by it, always blown away. theater when Jam On It hit, as big as Jam On It got, it still blown away. We used to sit in the tour bus and go from city to city, and every city we went in, our record was number one. It just blew me away.
Well, who else back on the scene back then did you hang with and battle with? That,
Um, well, you didn't usually battle with the people you hung with. Our battling days was in the '70s. When we, as a DJ, that was when we battled. You know, we would battle on the cruise. Hanging, we were on tour. First, we were on tour with Cameo and O'Brien. We were on a national tour with them, and then we went on tour with on the Fresh Fest, the first Fresh Fest, and that was Fat Boys, Curtis Blow, Run DMC, Houdini, and that was amazing. And we didn't run with the circles with a lot of the other, because we were family oriented, and I at least was a little bit older than most of those other cats. I mean, me and Curtis Blow were the oldest people on the tour, on the Fresh Fest tour. But so we were never the hangout type. I mean, we had our kids with us on the road.
oh yeah.
So we didn't hang with another cruise. All the stuff that was going on in the hotel rooms and all that. Me and Chili B, we were in rooms with our wives. So
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah, we weren't up to the same shenanigans that other people were. But it was a blast, man.
Do you still keep up with those guys?
With what, like Houdini and them, I keep up with. Run DMC, they got to another level, and so. But Houdini and Curtis Blow, yeah, I keep up with them.
You were speaking as far as music is concerned, and I'm talking all genres here. What do you listen to nowadays, and what do you think about how it's evolved?
Well, even back then, what I listened to more than anything was jazz. I kept up with the dance music, for the DJing wise. Nowadays, I don't spin as much as I used to, so I don't even keep up on the dance music. And jazz, as well as other genres. I still listen to jazz, but I find that most of the music I'm into now is from the '70s and the '60s.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Jazz, from the '60s, and even going back to the '50s. But I still, if it's good, I love it. But what I've found that's happened to music is that the technology has allowed people the shortcut of not actually learning music or getting into the theory of it. And that coupled along with how the majors, and I'm blaming the majors, I'm blaming like Clear Channel, the conglomerates who want everything to sound the same, and that's what it's resulted in. I think what's happening, and it's across almost all genres. I can't speak for country, but just about every other genre, I find that the music now is more about trying to sound like the other records out there. There's no creativity. There's no originality. Back in the day, when somebody had a style and a feel, that was unique. Now everybody sounds the same, and the creativity, especially in the music, is gone.
Do you think that has anything to do with our age? Because I'm getting up there in age too, and I don't find myself connecting, with the music. I'm like you. When I listen to music, I'm listening to stuff back in the '70s, and I'm listening to stuff back in the '80s and stuff like that. Do you think we're just getting old?
I'm sure that has a little to do with it, but I think there's one thing that differs from our stuff as compared to the stuff that's going on now is the longevity of it. A song comes out now, it's a hit, and then you don't hear it anymore.
Oh no, you don't hear it.
It doesn't come back. Whereas from timeless, I mean, you can still hear stuff from the '30s and '40s, and it's still timeless when you hear it now.
Yeah,
You
if
know,
you're
even though it was our parents' music, you know, it's still timeless and it still comes back. You know, nobody's making timeless music anymore, and the kids don't check for anything. If it's old, they don't want to hear it anymore, and I think that's the difference. And I think that comes down to the lack of creativity. I think music is a language of the soul, and when you forget to speak that language, you know, when you don't speak that language, when all you're doing is following formulas, you know, and everybody's doing the same formula, it's boring and it's soulless, you know.
well, man. Outside of music, what do you do nowadays for fun?
Oh, for fun we travel, TV, movies, entertainment like that.
Are you a
But
homebody nowadays?
only if I have to be. Like in the winter time, you stuck being a homebody. But the wife and I, we like to travel a lot, you know. So when we're doing shows, that helps, you know. And we try and take you know a few vacations, go on a few trips a year.
So what you talk about TV shows and stuff? Let's get personal on you, man. What do you like to watch on TV?
Hmm. Well, we follow the gamut, you know. There's you know things like Big Bang Theory and
Oh
The
man, I
Office,
love
you
Big
know.
Bang Theory, man. That's my favorite. That's everybody's favorite, apparently, though.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes down to comedies, we like stuff like that, you know. But you know, other stuff. I mean, Game of Thrones. You know, we get into sci-fi and
Oh, okay. You
fantasy
you
and stuff
talking
like that.
sci-fi? You watch Ancient Aliens, Bigfoot?
No, 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 no,
you don't get in on that. That's like the big thing
no, man.
nowadays.
The people that that was a squatch.
Yeah.
No, no, I can't get into that. We watch a few reality shows. I mean, we watch American Idol religiously, you know, and you know, Amazing Race and Survivor, you know. But when it comes down to the stuff that with people running around the woods looking for Sasquatch and they never find them, no, no, I can't do that.
I'm a big Walking Dead fan, and I can't wait for it to come back on. I don't know if you watch that or not.
Nah, my wife wouldn't get into it, so you know,
Hey, hey, you know what though? I mean, my wife didn't get into it either, and I let her watch the first season. Now she's a bigger fan than I am. That's crazy, ain't it?
well, you know, but I feel you. I have a couple of friends that watch it and swear by it. I've never watched an episode. I just made up my mind today that I'm going to try and get some back episodes of Homeland and check that out because I never gave that a chance. Never watched it. And people are telling me it's great, so I have to check that out. But yeah, we there's a large range of stuff that we like.
So do you do housework?
No,
You don't do
no,
housework?
no.
I don't either. My wife, we're traditional, man, and my wife don't think a man should be doing that kind of stuff. So I roll with that.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say my reasons, but I don't. I ain't trying to get myself in no kind of trouble.
She gonna hear the replay.
There you go.
So man,
I ain't been married 32 years
for nothing, right?
without being smart. That's right.
So man, what about? Do you get a lot of people contacting you and wanting to sample your music and stuff like that? Getting samples off Jam on It, Jam on Revenge, stuff like that?
The more the better. You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah. I
pays
mean,
the bills, man.
you was talking about music, certain music not losing its edge or whatever over time, and like your music right now, if you're at a club and that comes on, you know people know that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it still packs the floor. You know, we're extremely blessed. You
Yeah.
know.
I
And it's funny with Jam on It. That's probably the track out of all the stuff I did that I worked the least on.
really.
Yeah, the record company wanted us to do a rap record, you know, and you know we told them we weren't rappers. You know, both me and Chili B were DJs. You know, we had done some rapping because in the '70s the DJs would get on the mic and rap along too. You know, but no, they wanted a rap record, so I just threw together a quick beat. Took me 45 minutes to do that track and threw a bunch of old rhymes from the '70s, wrote a couple of new ones for Chili B, and that was it. It was magic.
Everybody tells me that it's the same thing. When you all the biggest hits just take a short amount of time to make.
It's funny like that, and it's not something that you can just easily repeat. It's not like a formula you can just, or a technique that you can just put together. It just happens.
I hear you. So what? I'm gonna give you an opportunity to give you some, some plugs or whatever. Where can people go to find out more about what you're up to these days?
All right. My website is www.jamonproductions.com. One word, jamonproductions.com. And I as as things come, I update that because it's just me running everything. So but we that's our website. We have a forum there as well. I'm also on Facebook as Ben Cosmo D Cenac. Cenac is my last name.
Yeah. Now, Ben might not get to you right off.
Well, if you get to me on Facebook, I do. I'm on Facebook often, but as soon as I see something, I get back to it. Within a day or so.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah. It took you about a month to get back to me. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh yeah, man, got Cosmo D."
But you know what happened? Facebook changed it that now if you don't know somebody, you're not friends with the person, it goes to an other mailbox instead of your inbox. It goes to an other, and I didn't even know that because when you get the indication on the top, that's just your inbox.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I just said, "What's this thing here that says other?" And I clicked that, and I had a whole bunch of mail that goes to this other. So now I click the other all the time. But that's why I said I'm sorry, I'm just seeing this. You know,
Yeah, I forgive
that
you.
Facebook always changing things, man, drive you crazy.
Oh, I hear you, man. I hear you. I like the very the very first Facebook when it come out. They should have left it alone.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Well, man, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day, to join us here on the 25th hour, man. You're a hero of mine, and I'm gonna, remember this moment in my life forever, Cosmo. I really appreciate it, man.
I really thank you, man, and I'm humbled by it. I appreciate it. When I checked into your show, I was like, wow, these people are really covering the gamut, and to be included in that has blown me
Oh
away.
man,
Thank
we bring everybody in. It's not just one style or anything like that. It's basically, it's your basic variety show, and we don't discriminate on anything. I asked you about the finding Bigfoot and the ancient aliens and all that stuff. The only reason I asked you that is because we've had people who's into that thing, on our show. So I find it, interesting to ask my guests, if they're kind of into that thing.
very cool, very cool.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.